Hey everybody, it's Ben in Beta, and today I have another drone video for you. I decided to pick up a DJI Flip, and I went with the RC2 controller. I actually did this because I had some people ask me to review this drone. I wasn't necessarily going to pick it up to do that, but I decided I would go ahead and pick it up to review against the Hover Air Pro Max, which I've been using now for a few months, and I do like quite a bit. So I just picked this up off of Amazon. I do have links in the description, and if you do find this at all helpful and you think you're going to buy a Flip, if you use one of those links or a Hover Air for that matter, I really appreciate that because it does help out the channel so I can continue to do videos like this and help you make decisions on what's best for you. And the cool part is if you do use those affiliate links, they don't actually cost you any more. They just help benefit the channel. So I do appreciate that if you can do that. Otherwise, if you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share this out with people who are interested in drones, that's helpful too, and I appreciate that as well. So today I really just want to get into what kind of comes with this system and first impressions about the DJI Flip. So there are like three kind of tiers that you can get with the Flip. This is the middle tier. The lower tier comes with a controller that doesn't have a screen where you use your phone. And that's only like $439, something like that, if I remember correctly. This was in that $650, $680 range. And then they have one that's a little bit more expensive. It comes with extra batteries and a charger as well. I decided to go this route for a couple of reasons because I can buy that charger and batteries later if I want. And this has a pretty decent sized battery in terms of flight time anyway. So I just wanted to see what that was like in terms of just using the single battery. Now, I don't know what you think this looks like to you, but this reminds me of a ship from Star Wars a little bit when it's all folded up. It's kind of cool. It is pretty small still when it's all folded up, which is nice. But if you look at the tube, the Hover Air is definitely quite a bit smaller in pretty much every dimension. Now, I would say a couple things here. I will do a separate comparison of the Flip versus the Hover Air for sure. But in this one, we're gonna mostly just focus on the Flip. So with the DJI Flip, you do get a gimbal cover. And that's something I wish the Hover Air would have come with, but that's nice, so it protects your gimbal. I again went with the RC2 controller, and let me tell you why. The RC2 controller is a fantastic drone controller, so it's worth it kind of no matter what, but I am an Android user for my phone. And if I was iOS, it might not matter as much. I might go with a less expensive controller and use my phone. But with DJI on Android, you actually have to sideload all of the applications on your phone in order to use them. Because the DJI app is not available on Android, I like to just have the controller control all that. So this will keep the drone up to date. It'll keep itself up to date on the app. It has all the flight data, and it's a really nice screen. It makes it very simple and easy to fly. I generally would spend the extra $150 to get this controller. You'll like it better. But if you run iOS and you just want to use that instead, there's nothing wrong with that. You can save a little bit of money going that route. And so that's one of the big differences, I think, between the Neo, the Hover Air, and this is you kind of get a controller with it automatically. With the Hover Air, you have to buy this beacon and some joysticks in order to get a full controller, but you don't need it to operate the drone. You can just use your phone or just the drone itself. So basically you can control all the updates and everything through this controller, which is the main reason why I like that, but also it is a really nice controller. It's easy to see when you're using it in the sun, that kind of thing too. And you can also use this with other DJI drones, which is nice too. With the Flip, basically you flip everything out here. It's pretty easy. And it's kind of actually upside down at the moment, but let me flip all these things down here. All right, once that's done, looks like it's already turning on here for me. So let me go ahead and turn on the controller as well. But this is what it looks like when it's completely folded out. Again, difference-wise between this and Hover Air, size-wise. So you notice, it is quite a bit bigger. But I think there's probably some advantages to that. This should handle wind a little bit better, I think, because it's got bigger pops. And that's always nice, but they're both under 249 grams. And now we can kind of see right from the beginning here, I'm hooked up and you can see there's my camera. So you can kind of see that's what that looks like there. And I can control everything from here. One of the big things with this is it does have pretty good forward sensors. So while it's following you or any kind of follow mode, this should do a pretty good job of not running into anything. That being said though, the only other sensors it really has are the ones on the bottom for landing. So it doesn't really know anything about left, right, or behind or above it in terms of flying. So you do have to be a little bit more careful with that versus say like the Mini 4 Pro, which has 360-degree obstacle detection, and the Hover Air Pro and Pro Max also have rear sensors. So those can work as a dolly track without running into anything as well. And they can kind of be in front of you, which is kind of cool. So that's kind of a big difference there in terms of like sensors, that kind of thing, of what this system has versus what some of the other ones do. But you do have a lot of the same settings you have on something like the Mini 4 Pro. This one has obstacle avoidance action, and it either brakes or it's off. So when it sees something, it's just gonna stop. It's not gonna actually avoid it at this point anyway. A little bit of internal storage on this one as well. And you can do an SD card on this one, just like you can do the Hover Air, which is nice. That is a difference between this and the Neo, where you couldn't do that. You had to transfer everything directly from the Neo itself. So it's nice to be able to have an SD card on this system. And then, you know, if you're familiar with DJI, you have all those kind of same settings that you would have on a Mini 4 Pro, where you can decide if you want photo, video mode, master shots, quick shots, all that kind of same stuff that you had before on, like, again, a Mini 4, Mini 4 Pro. Anything that uses this sort of controller interface is gonna have those same settings. I thought this had the ability to record in HLG, HDR, but it doesn't seem to be an option. The Hover Air does do that, but you can just color correct things at the end, and that's fine too. And then you have the ability to like check for updates for the aircraft. And that is kind of one of the advantages to using the controller, is you can do everything through here and keep it up to date and not have to do anything with your phone. And then in terms of resolution, you have 4K all the way up to 60 frames per second, which is great. That is that. Your sticks here are on the back, just like they would be in any controller. So you can just screw those on and then put these away when you're done with them. That's always nice. So I actually haven't flown this yet, but that's what comes in the box. That's what you get with the DJI Flip. And again, I think it's a nice drone for people who are just starting out. A lot of people said the feature set's very similar to the Mini 4 Pro from what I've seen, but I'll reserve some judgment there to see what I think about the system. Other than that, you do get some propellers and then also a screwdriver to change propellers if you need to do that. One of the things that I think is really great about these types of drones is because they have protectors on there, you hopefully won't wreck if you do crash it. And it can probably run into things a little bit without too much of a problem, which is nice. Versus the Mini 4 Pro, if you hit your propellers in there, you're probably gonna break them almost certainly. But the Mini 4 Pro does have a pretty good obstacle detection system. So when folding it up, it's important to note that this does have a little bit of a, make sure you do it in the right order. The ones in the back go first, and the ones in the front go last, and they kind of give you this extra protection over your propellers. So just something to keep in mind there when you're folding it up. Battery just kind of pops off the top here, nice and easy, and pops back in, so that's pretty simple. On the left-hand side, you're gonna also have your USB-C for charging and the ability to put in your SD card. Also, supposedly, you're supposed to be able to hook up the DJI mic to the drone either through the app or through the controller. So we'll see how that goes too. I haven't gotten a chance to play with that yet, but that's great because it can remove the prop noise while you're talking, and we'll see how that works. All right, so I'm connecting to the Flip for the first time with the app on my iPad. So it says to press the power button for 3 seconds. Okay, we're connecting, still connecting. And this will have all the same options as the RC2 controller for setting up things. But I have understood that when you're using it with the app, the settings don't always carry over. It says not to fly over water, which is interesting. And now we can see that I'm able to see from the camera. And this looks a lot like what I saw from the DJI Neo. And it looks like you have follow, manual control, drone, circle, rocket, spotlight, and direction track. And you can use any of those, which is pretty cool. So this is also where you have the ability to use the microphone from your device and record if you would like. And that can be helpful again if you want to be able to record your voice while you're moving around. So settings wise, this is the same thing that they had with the DJI Neo, where you can just set the follow distance, the follow height, and the camera modes. So medium, far, low, high, so on and so forth. One of the reasons why I decided to go ahead and give this a try was to see if it can follow vehicles and not just people. I'm hoping that'll work because right now that doesn't work with the Hover Air. Just a minute ago, I set the video settings here and they did not necessarily carry over into the app. So if I wanted to use the app and I wanted to use D-Log M, I actually have to click that button. And then I've got a bunch of Chinese characters here that I don't understand. So I'm not really sure what that is. but whatever. And then you have the app recording, and that's where we turn that on if we want to be able to record. So noise reduction is natural, reduces propeller noise while preserving ambient sound, suitable for a quieter environment, or pure, which preserves only the human voices. I could connect my mic Bluetooth to this and use that mic instead. I don't think you can connect the DJI Mic 2 directly to the drone itself, but that would be really nice if you could do that. App basically has all the same stuff, at least that I can see so far. One thing that I do like about DJI is they have some extra modes that you can set some custom settings for too. So helix, boomerang, and direction track. Direction track, basically I just set it to the side that I want and say track me from this direction, and it'll keep me centered. So it's from the side or behind or in front. But keep in mind, this doesn't know where it's going, so you want to do that in an open space. Then you have Helix, which I love as a mode because that one is it's just kind of a super cool mode in how it works when it kind of spins around you. I think that's pretty sweet. And you can set the max distance in 4 meters, 6 meters, 10 meters, and 20 meters. Again, it doesn't know what's around it, so you need to make sure that when you fly in those modes, there's nothing it's going to run into. It also has boomerang, which is also kind of a fun mode. And I like that about DJI, that it has some of those extra modes that maybe Hover doesn't have. So that'll be kind of cool too. But that's pretty much it in terms of how this all works. So yeah, what we have left to do is just to go outside and give it a try. So anyway, that's what comes with it. So if you have any questions about the DJI Flip, please put them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer those. All right, well, we'll take it up for the first flight here in a little bit and give you some first impressions. All right, so we're out here for the first flights. And one thing I also learned is this button that's near where the USB-C port is. That changes the mode.
Circle. Rocket. Spotlight. Boomerang. Follow. Droney.
So that you can
Rocket.
use it without the app if you want. So if we did follow, I guess for the first one, I'm gonna guess if I just long press it, it's going to work maybe. So let's give that a try.
Follow. 3, 2, unable to take off. Aircraft in motion.
Try it again here.
Follow. 3, 2, 1.
So it's pretty windy today, but we'll see how this does. The props are kind of interestingly pretty quiet, which is good. And I'm on a hill, so I'm just kind of seeing how this works. All right, let's see if it will land. And it will. So you can use it without the app. That's pretty cool as well. But let's go ahead and give the app a try and see how it works. But that was a follow mode. Maybe boomerang. Boomerang's fun. Shouldn't run into anything here. So here we go.
3, 2, 1.
So it should be recording my voice as well on the app. And here it goes. And it is tracking me. I can see that. So it'll be really interesting. It is recording my voice as well, so it'll be interesting to see what that's like when it's done. And now see if it moves back to where it should go. That's cool. Now, we'll try a different mode here. Let's do rocket. And see what that looks like. So I don't see it recording my voice on this one, but that's fine. Oh, there it is. Okay, so it just started recording. So one thing that's cool about the DJI ones, I think, versus the Hover Air is I can just keep running a new mode, a quick shot from the app, which I can't do with Hover Air, and I don't like that very much. Just coming back down now. All right, so I'm gonna do a quick shot, 6 meters, but I would like the rotation this time. Again, it's kind of windy, so let's see how it goes. All right, here we go. It is seeing me pretty well too. I want to see if it tracks me as I move. It does, but it's not really moving itself, so that's kind of interesting. right, again, recording, just checking to see how this works with the app on the iPad, and I haven't connected anything else to it at this point. So we're still 78% battery too. And it's going back to where it needs to. So let's try another one here. Let's do spotlight. All right, so that's recording right from where it's at, and it's just going to keep recording right there while I move around. And again, you know, the propellers are loud when it's right next to you, but it's actually quite quiet, which is kind of nice too. And so anyway, you can kind of see where our new place is. There's some mountains back here and stuff. Interesting for that. So what the quality's like, I'm not sure yet, but so far so good. Still 75% battery life. It's saying 18 minutes, and we've been flying for a few minutes, which is kind of cool. So let's click the stop button there. And I'm not going to use virtual joysticks on the iPad because I think that'd be kind of hard. I'm going to switch to the controller and we'll see how that goes here in a minute. So I'm going to come up here and land it, which I was able to do. Again, so far it's working pretty good. First few flights. All right, we're connected up. Let's go ahead and launch it real quick. All right, so I'm just recording so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Moving the gimbal down so it sees me. We'll do some quick shots here. Let's do the boomerang.
3, 2, 1.
All right. So here we go, boomerang. And this is going much further away than it did with the app, which is totally fine. It's a pretty cool shot though. All right, now I'm gonna switch to manual mode for just a little bit, just to see how that goes. Back to video. And DJI just really does this well. So now I can control this without a problem here. So let's bring the camera back up a little bit. There's the mountains there. And it definitely does control very well. Over here we got a little bit of a storm cloud. So I'm not really testing a lot out here. I'm not, you know, this is the first time out, just getting used to it. All right. It does seem to move pretty quickly, which is pretty great. Let's see how fast it actually is. It's pretty quick. So I'm pretty impressed so far, and you know, using the controller, it works really quite well. So first time out, pretty impressed. Still looking at 64% battery, 15 minutes left, even after, you know, this little bit that we've been flying. Not bad. Seems to be handling the wind fine. Again, it's not real windy. It's maybe like 5-10 miles an hour, not bad at all. But you can kind of see a little bit on how that's handling that. And let's take one more fly around here real quick. Pretty nice and smooth. And I think what I like about this one is it's really easy to get it to land in your hand, which is nice. So anyway, we'll shut that off. First impressions? First impressions are pretty darn good, I would say. I will want to see how this tracks vehicles and stuff, if it does or not. I think it might track a little bit better maybe with this controller, but we'll see. So far, it looks really great with the app. You got to see a little bit of the different modes and everything like that. So first impressions wise, I think it's pretty good. I'll get into this a little bit more, audio quality, all that kind of stuff, but this is just the first impressions of the DJI Flip. I'll also do a comparison video with the Hover Air Pro Max, just to help you kind of make an informed decision on what kind of drone might be right for you. Also, don't forget to leave any questions in the comments. Let me know which drone you have. If you have this drone, do you like it? If you have the Hover Air, do you like it? If you have another drone, do you like it? I'm always interested in those things as well. But thank you so much for watching. Remember, live your life in beta, and we'll see you next time.